inside the Gamecocks, the morning show. And there is our second John of the day, the great John Strickland. Hey, brother.
What's going on?
Did you have a good Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, it was all right. The rain messed it up. It's supposed to be at the lake all weekend, and that did not work out as planned.
I know, man. We got Friday and Saturday in at the beach. Sunday we were just underneath all day playing games like ping pong and cornhole, stuff like that. Kind of stinks, but it is what it is. At least we got a day off yesterday.
Yep, it happens. It sucked though, but yeah, basically just sat around lazy on Sunday and yesterday.
Yeah. We're getting closer to football, John. So spring meetings are going on this week. We're going to talk about some of that and some comments that Shane Beamer has made as well. I want to go back last week, though. You obviously played at Williams-Brice Stadium and now being a member of the Gamecock Club and a donor and a big-time supporter of the program and all that stuff, an alumni. We had seen some stuff, some renderings and things like that, but phase 2 approval came through on Thursday, and now we're starting to get a little bit more of a grasp on exactly what they're going to be doing at the end of this season when they start knocking some stuff down and adding suites and scoreboards and things like that. I mean, John, have you been to every SEC stadium? You've been to about all of them, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been to every one except Missouri.
Haven't been there. Okay. That's all right. You can shelve that anyways.
Yeah.
What stands out to you? What are you most excited about? I mean, I think without this baseball craziness we've had, this and obviously softball, in their remarkable run. I mean, these have been the stories in Gamecock land, but this has been years in the making. John, you okay? Everybody? No, you're fine.
No, sorry, my camera dropped off the stand. That was funny.
But this has been years in the making. Chance Miller and Ray Tanner and their team years ago have been putting this together. They've had to go through all these state approvals and all kinds of stuff. And now we're getting towards reality here. From the information we received last week, what did you like most about that?
Yeah, well, you kind of already knew this thing was going to get approved, right?
Yeah.
And I know, like, I don't even know if everybody even knows this, but if you sit in any club level, the zone, you have a suite, you sit up in the press box. Everybody got charged a fat fee on this past Monday. So I know I had to pay $3,750 for the WBS Improvement Fund. Yeah. I knew it was coming, but I forgot about it. Then I saw that much money come out of my account. So, but yeah.
People are scrambling right now, checking their bank accounts. Is what's going on.
Yeah. And I think it was like different levels depending on where your seats was in the clubs or whatever, or if you already have a suite. But anyways, we already knew that fundraiser was going out to all the premium seating, fans. But I mean, I guess that's what you're asking me. What do I think about the upgrades and all that good stuff? I kind of got distracted when my camera fell here.
Yeah, well, I think the reason that I asked you if you've been to all these other ballparks is I do think that a lot of our fan base, and this isn't like, I'm not knocking anybody. Don't please, everybody. This is not a knock on anybody. I just don't think that a lot of people realize what surrounds the Gamecocks in the SEC. Things that I would say that the average fan, John, probably will never invest in, big time expensive suites and stuff like that. And rightfully so. This is a blue collar group around here, as most people are. It's not a knock on anybody, but there are people that can afford these things out there and they do want them. And when you go to these other ballparks, whether it be down in the swamp and they're doing some renovations on their own, or Sanford Stadium, or out in College Station, for instance, or wherever it is, there are a lot of things. Like if you get a good personal look at this and they take you on the tours and you go see it all, you realize quickly there are a lot of things that Williams-Brice Stadium does not have, but that's coming to an end here soon.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stadiums to where we're just about even, but the majority they have way more of the premium luxury seating, boxes, suites, all that good stuff. Florida's one that doesn't have as many as most, but that press box on their home side is so big, they have tons of suites all throughout that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's like a double number of what we have at Williams-Brice. Well, funny thing is, I asked Coach Tanner about this a while back when all this stuff got, first announced. I was talking to him on the sideline before the Missouri game, and he said you'd be shocked on how many people, how long the list is for people wanting suites.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a ton of people. And, I've been waiting to get club seats forever, and I finally got upgraded to it this for this upcoming season. I mean, people want that kind of stuff. And so there's a long list. So it was time to make this thing happen. I mean, it's kind of been drug out long enough. I mean, I hear there's like a request out there for like 50 to 100 suites that
Mm-hmm.
people are on a waiting list for.
Yeah.
And we only have what, if you take into account the press box up there and then the suites across the home side, I mean, it's what, 16 to 20,
Yeah.
something like that.
It's the fewest in
Yeah,
the
it's not.
league.
Yeah, it's not a lot, and so there's a long list. There's a deep list of people willing to shell out the premium money to get these things, and companies that want to invest in these things for hosting their customers, clients, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great thing. Yeah, we're going to lose some seats, but I actually think even from the design on like the student section that I've seen, there's going to be suites on top of that, and it's going to kind of be like a little double decker type thing. So I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to make the stadium look better. I actually think some of the shapes, and especially in the student end zone, of how it's going to make the stadium. I think it may even make it louder, even though you may have 6,000 less fans in the seats.
Yeah, I know. And I, based on the renderings the other day, it does look like they're trying to even, for some of the seats they'll have to remove, maybe add some back, like in the ramps and those types areas and stuff like that too, which is, I've never even thought about that.
Yeah, that'd be great. What?
Go ahead.
Now, I was going to say it's going to affect some of these people that like to stand on the ramps during the game for standing room only, but you're really not getting any revenue from those standing room only because sometimes they sell those tickets for bigger games and standing room only, and people just come in and stand on the ramp, and it's a cheap ticket, but you can utilize that area to put like premium seating, and I mean, just make so much more money for the university.
I know. And, these athletics directors, they have a difficult job. I think oftentimes they're labeled with, the fact that they're just trying to price out the normal fan and this, that, and the other. And I understand why people think that. I mean, people who have been in the Gamecock club or any club for decades. I mean, my family's 55 years and I alone, I think I'm 13. And you think about where it never goes down. I mean, it did go down a couple of years ago and they went back to like 2010 prices as a promo to get people in post COVID. And I think that was a great move to be able to do that. But generally speaking, it always goes up, right, John? And so, people look around and they go, man, we're all being priced out and this, that, and the other. And they've got every right to feel that way. And I understand it and I'm empathetic to it. Athletic directors, though, they have a job. And, you do have to keep up with the Joneses in this league and across the country. It's not exclusive to the SEC. This is all over the place. You got to keep up with the Joneses. And so they have they have a difficult situation here, right? Where you are trying to accommodate people that want to give you big money so you can continue to enhance the experience and the product and the whole 9 yards. But then you also have to be able to accommodate the people that basically help build this thing. Hey, I've been around paying my dues for 30 and 40 years. Help me out. And it's a fine line of how you do that. And I think anytime those decisions are made, you're always going to have a group of people that are going to be upset with it. And that's understandable. And then you're going to have a group of people that obviously are thrilled with it. And clearly that's understandable. But I think overall, too, you have to be able to separate two things because we often refer to Williams-Brice Stadium as the environment. and it is second to none. When the Gamecocks are pretty good, that environment's as good as anybody out there. We all know that. We see it. We've been involved in it. And I think that there's a fear that sometimes when you add all this stuff, it might take away from that environment. But I don't envision that being the case.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think some people like on the lower west side, they're going to have their seats affected. But if you've had them for a long time, they're going to try and accommodate you the best way possible. But just to put this into perspective, all right, so we hold 70, right at 78,000 right now. Okay, there's only 46,000 season tickets sold, pretty much on average every year.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that. That's 30,000 tickets that are not gobbled up for season tickets. And a lot of it is on the visitors' upper deck side, are the ones that don't get, bought. So it's time to utilize some of this stuff and make more revenue for the university. I mean, yeah, some people are going to have to move their seats around, which sucks. But I'm sure, if you've been a Gamecock Club member long enough or your donation level, they're going to take care of you and put you somewhere, good. But
Mm-hmm.
it's completely necessary in this day and age of college athletics. I mean, it just is. And just to give everybody an idea, at South Carolina, we're in the mid-tiered, maybe down a little from what a lot of these other universities charge for tickets and donations to get tickets. So we're actually priced pretty good to
Yeah.
where the university has us compared to a lot of these other schools.
Well, and the score, like for instance, the scoreboards in the south end zone. I mean, I remember sitting in the student section, of course, when that was before the new one was built. But having to turn up, like there's some things that are kind of, it's like, why hasn't this been done? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't there scoreboards on this side, for instance? And the one I remember, Coach Tanner, I think it's probably a year or two ago when they first kind of rolled out the first phase of this thing, and here's what we're thinking. And he mentioned specifically, we want to enhance the student section. He had mentioned creating a club and stuff like that for them. It looks like that is sticking. They're sticking to the plan here with that. They're going to try to revitalize some things over there. And I think it's good. If I've got a gripe about anything with Carolina football over the last few years, and again, this is going to come off as kind of an old man sour grapes type deal, it's the amount of students that leave early.
Yeah.
It's not exclusive here. It happens everywhere.
It does.
It happens at Alabama all the time. It happens at Ole Miss all the time. It happens in Athens, Georgia all the time, regardless of how good those teams are. Lane Kiffin has been very outspoken about this with his own students over the years. I know Shane has subtly mentioned it a couple of times here. Like I don't think they get it, John. Like they get a ticket that's warped into their fees and they're paid for. So, in the lottery, if you get a ticket, you get to go and you don't have to pay for it. Everybody else doesn't get that opportunity. Like you've already, this is done. You've squashed it. You just get to go and enjoy yourself. And a lot of these kids are coming down from the Northeast or wherever, and that's fine. But, they didn't grow up on Gamecock football like a lot of people do. And so they want to leave at halftime and go out to the party or whatever it is and quote unquote enjoy their experience. But I look at it and go, you only get to do this 28 times in your entire life. As far as this bill is on somebody else, you might want to that's 28 days in your whole life. You get to do this, and you can't wait to get out of there. You can't spend another 30 minutes in the ballpark. Like, I've never been a big fan of that. So I think that the enhancement to the student environment and their experience down there, I think that's one of the great things about all this.
Yeah, no, I love it. Now, I will say this. Now, the students did a great job this past year. All right. But we also great games. It was great close games in a lot of these big games. But yes, you want to enhance the student experience, no doubt. And I know that's something they've been talking about to make the students want to stay in the seats. So I think everything they're doing is great. The funny thing is I've seen a couple of different renderings of the stadium. I've seen one where the big scoreboard is gone and there's jumbotrons in all four corners of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're going to do all that. I do know they do want to put suites in that end zone, above that end zone.
Yep.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see how all this plays out. I think they're going to have a reveal in about a month
Yeah.
and give you the full reveal on what it's going to look like. But I think all of this is just going to enhance not only the students like we're talking about right now, but the fan experience as well. I mean, breaking your neck to look at one video board is, not always great.
No.
You'd love to have a video, like say if you're, on the 20, 30-yard line or towards the end zone, and the ball's on this goal line down here opposite from you, be great to look, see the play, and then just look straight up for a scoreboard instead of doing this, that would be great. So I think it's going to enhance the fan experience. You can never please everybody, right?
No. No.
You just can't. But sometimes, like the old saying goes, change is inevitable. I mean, nothing ever stays the same, and things happen, and they're doing it for the better of the experience for the fans and the revenue for the university we all love. And because you got to keep up with the Joneses this day and age in college athletics, as we all know, with paying players and all this stuff.
Yeah, and Jeremiah Donati's looking to that stadium as an asset too, and being able to bring in additional revenue with concerts and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a bigger plan for that than a lot of people think. Probably much to the chagrin of our friend Clark Cox and his team. They're going to have to get that place ready and replace turf and all kinds of stuff. But millions and millions of dollars, it's kind of part of the game now,
Yeah, yeah. I know they're going to start on that home side, and then they'll move over to the east side at some point. I think the biggest waste is, those seats down there on the bottom behind the visitor sideline where nobody can see anything. They need to change that up and do some enhancements on that side of the field as well, which I know it's the next one in the pipeline. I mean, they're going to do it here eventually. Maybe it's 2 or 3 years out for that side. Yeah, I think it's going to make the stadium look great.
It's coming. There's no question. All right, let me ask you. So this week you got spring meetings going on, and there's a lot of stuff. It's hard to even keep up with all this stuff. You know what I mean? We'll talk to Mike a little bit later on in the week about some of the comments that Greg Sankey has made, and obviously we'll let the meetings kind of progress themselves and seeding and the future of the playoff and how many SEC teams get in and this, that, and the other. But I want to bounce off some comments that Shane Beamer has made. And he was asked about the 9-game league schedule. He said, "Look, I'm all for a 9-game league schedule, and I'm glad that Coach is saying that. I am too, John. I don't mean this disrespectful to many of the FCS opponents out there or anything like that, or even some of these Group of 5 opponents that come to Williams-Brice Stadium in non-conference games. Matter of fact, it's always great to enjoy the win. There's no doubt about it. But I also love the environment, and I think most people do when you get an SEC team in or you schedule a big-time non-conference game. This year, of course, they got Virginia Tech and Atlanta. They've got some home-and-homes coming up with teams like North Carolina and NC State. Next year, Miami. They'll make the trek to Coral Gables, et cetera, et cetera. And Shane Beamer said, "Look, I'm cool with 9, but we have a built-in, and we're not even discussing getting rid of the Clemson game. It's the best thing going." Shane, that'll
never happen. Yeah.
It'll never happen. We know that. But what has been happening is the scheduling of another Power 4 conference game. South Carolina has made an effort to do so. A lot of teams have over the years. The big ones, Georgia and Alabama and Texas, they all play big time opponents. And Shane Beamer's saying, "Look, if you want to go to 9, that's great. But we've got to have some sort of scheduling consistency for everybody here. Like, we can't be playing Miami and Clemson or North Carolina and Clemson or Virginia Tech and Clemson plus 9 games in the league, and then somebody else who doesn't already have a built-in Power 4 conference opponent being scheduled just 3 cupcakes." I'm with him. I said this a couple years ago, if they were going to stay with 8, they needed to mandate a Power 4, an FCS, and a G5. You get 1 Power 4, you get 1 G5, and you get 1 FCS in addition to your 8-game league schedule. But if they go to 9, there's going to be a lot of coaches, Kentucky, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Those are the 4 that play a rival from another league every single year. And I would imagine they're banding together saying, hey, teams like Ole Miss, they've got to schedule somebody that equates to what we have to go through here.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's got to be some incentive to play a 9-game schedule, honestly, in this league, which I know Sankey is working on with, making his push with the playoffs. Hey, SEC needs 4 teams in, which I totally agree. The Big Ten definitely needs 4 teams in. Totally agree on it. I mean, those are your 2 best conferences, so you got to have some incentives. But yes, all these other teams, they can't just go schedule, whoever,
Right.
and then just coast through with those three games, and while the rest of us are playing Clemson, Florida State, Georgia Tech, the Louisville. I mean, you gotta somehow mandate something. So I totally agree with that because I don't think it's fair to the other schools that have these permanent rivals, and the others can just go schedule two, uh, you know, the lower tier schools and basically go 3-0, and then worry about your nine game schedule.
Yeah. Well, I mean, remember when was this? Was this the beginning of the year or was this in the fall when they were talking about the Big Ten and the SEC maybe scheduling a conference alliance, basically? Like, kind of like basketball, they do like the Big Ten ACC tournament or whatever. I don't even know that I like that. Like, I wouldn't.
Well, I don't mind it as long as it's just the teams that don't have those crossover ACC rivals. Like you leave those out because hey, they're playing that. Let's do it. This is our ACC thing with the ACC, and then maybe all these other teams that don't have that, put them against the Big Ten. I don't mind it at all.
Or offsetting. Like if you've got 16 teams, these 8 this year are versus the Big Ten. These 8 are off, but they have to schedule another P4 opponent in place
Right.
of the Big Ten. They can't just, okay, well, I don't get Ohio State this year, or I don't get a member of the Big Ten, so we're going to go play Western Kentucky. No, that's not how this is going to fly. Like, we can have a Big Ten scheduling alliance, but if you're one of the 8 who isn't playing in that this year, you've got to make sure that you're scheduling another Power 4 game.
Right. I mean, look at us this year. We're going to be playing 10 Power 4 teams. 10.
And,
10.
and Coastal, too. I mean,
I know, but I'm just saying, Power 4, we're playing 10, and
yeah.
then you throw in a Coastal Carolina, who's been a really good football team over the years. The past decade, they've been a really good competitive football team. So, yeah, I mean, some of these other schools are going to have to step up and play other people because I just don't think it's fair if it's mandated that we go to the 9-game schedule. Which, honestly, I don't mind the 9-game schedule at all.
No.
I love conference games. Conference games are the funnest part about the football season.
As it, yeah.
I don't mind playing the lower tier schools here and there, and I get why we do it because it is good for your team to play those schools. But man, just playing 9 conference games, I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give pretty much everybody in the league some credit. Like, if you look at the schedule right now, like they all have a Power 4 conference game scheduled. I don't know of anybody that doesn't. I mean, well,
Who?
I mean, Ole Miss has, when they scheduled it, it was different. I mean, they had Washington State on there.
Yeah. Well, that's no longer.
But it's but everybody else. I mean, LSU has Clemson. I mean, Kentucky obviously has Louisville, that's built in, et cetera. So, I could go down and pretty much rattle off everybody. But if you go to 9, you feel like that's going away. Like, okay, well, we're going to 9, so we're just going to schedule these cupcakes. And that's what Shane Beamer is saying. No. Like, we don't want that.
Nope.
That's a competitive disadvantage. I mean, you can look at it from 2 angles. One, the winning angle, which is, well, if you win the games, it's going to enhance your chances to get in the playoffs. But you're more years than not, you're going to drop one of these somewhere. It's just going to happen as far as playing that 9th game in the SEC or playing a quality Power 4 game. Like, you're giving yourself 2 extra opportunities to lose versus some of these other teams who are giving themselves 2 extra opportunities to win by playing the Citadel in Eastern Kentucky and all these, whatever. I don't know. Do you think they get to 16? You think? I think it's 16. I don't think they're going to 14.
It's got to be 16. I mean, 16 just makes the most sense to me. The 12's fun. I'm glad they did it, but I think 16 is a legit way to get this thing done. I mean, listen, what we ranked last year, we wound up being ranked 15th. And I think the time after we played Clemson, when we were ranked 15th in the playoff standings, you can't tell me that you didn't think that football team could go beat anybody above them last year at that point in time. A fully loaded South Carolina team, not guys who sat out during the bowl game, but a fully healthy, loaded up South Carolina team that was playing the way they were at the end of last year. So I think 16 is a good number.
Dude, Greg Sankey has played his cards remarkably well with this. I mean, people can argue what he's saying and how kind of blunt he's being about things. We're the mighty SEC. We're going to pound our chest and we're going to get what we want. But he's put himself in a position to do that. Tell me one other conference commissioner that wouldn't if they had that power right now. Of course they would. They all would. Some of them have tried to do it without the power. And that's what's crazy. And Sankey just sat back and let this whole thing play out, John. And now the ESPN and Disney and those guys are coming in going, well, if you want to go to 9, we'll be willing to. I think we'd be willing to pay for that. Oh,
yeah, they would. Yeah, they would.
They would, huh? Well, that's interesting. Because just a year ago, you said, we're not talking about that. Now all of a sudden, everybody wants to talk about it.
More money, man. More money.
Yeah, he's the chess guy when everybody else is playing checkers. He's been doing it pretty well. Hello, JC and Mad Dog.
Hello.
What's up, fellas?
Chilling. What's up?
We're entering the annual college football. Let's figure out the future of the sport conversation for the next 2 months.
3 days in Destin. They're all going to figure it out, right?
Right.
It does feel like this year they will come out of there with more answers than they have in years prior because we're up against contract dates here.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna take the data points.
They're gonna consider all the data points. Yeah,
I think they're taking it out of the hands of the clown show that picked the field last year. You can't have that happen in sports. And for years they were told, like when they announced an expanded playoff, the SEC schools started scheduling up. I mean, in anticipation, because these things are done years in advance. Then you're going around and tell them, oh, no, it doesn't even matter because of some committee. I mean, they're just going to take it into their own hands and say, here are your teams from our league. Do with them what you may.
Good point.
But I have some thoughts about that. We're going to talk about that today on the show.
John, what's the weekly bourbon of choice?
Oh man, this week let's go with some Weller Antique 107.
Oh, good choice.
I got an old bottle. This one's 10 years old. I've been hearing though they're going to start being on the shelf more and more here in the next 6 months.
Really?
That big expansion Buffalo Trace did back in 2016. They
Bloods from.
I did a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, I mean they're operating. They're good.
They're rocking and rolling.